This is the 2026 Cadillac Escalade IQ Premium Sport. Is it the ultimate full-size SUV? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. We're back at our Cadillac to go over the particulars on this Escalade IQ and give you all the details. If you want to come into this dealership and buy this particular model or anything else they have in inventory, check out the link down in the description of the video. And there's a couple of little changes to talk about, just some shuffling around as far as changes in the trim level lineup. Not a big deal where that's concerned, but if you look over things from 25 to 26, you might see a few changes there. You will also find on a couple of the trim levels the new 22-inch 10-spoke wheels. From this view, you can see that we have full LED lighting. Everything here is going to be LED. The headlights, the daytime running lights, the turn signal indicators, we're going to turn those on right there so you can see those in action. Those are animated, by the way. Sometimes it looks like that through the lens of my GoPro, but something isn't really doing what it looks like as far as the motion goes. But in this case, it actually is. And you'll find this area to be illuminated as well. I don't know that that shows up as well here in the showroom because it's light enough to where it may be a little hard to see. And you'll have your cooling that will come in through these areas here to help keep the battery cool. All-wheel drive, and in this case, we're definitely not going to have the 22-inch wheels, we're going to have the 24-inch wheels. And in this situation, something I like, some EV manufacturers out there have wheel designs that are rather gaudy looking. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's about aerodynamics. And this case is the same here, but Cadillac has done a very nice job of making things look really nice. And we're going to have all of those great features that I know all of you want with your side view mirrors. And you will have the turn signal indicators built in a little bit of a different place compared to where they normally are. But they're here instead of being in the side view mirrors. But everything else is here. They're heated, they're power adjustable, they're power folding. All of that's going to be here. And we have the button right here to fold those in. We push that button right there and that's going to happen. There's also a setting on the infotainment screen, on the center screen, that allows those to fold and unfold every time you lock and unlock the vehicle. Now with all four doors here, all you have to do is either push the button that's on the inside of the door handles right there. They automatically open. They're on a motor that does that. And you can also push that button on the outside to close the doors, or you can just pull up on the door handle just like that. Very nice body lines, a little different from what we see with your more traditional gas-burning Escalade. Tell me what you think about that. I like how things work their way down and become a little bit more narrow back here, but not so much that it will be a problem for the driver to see out of the rear window, although you do have the rear view camera mirror that's going to make up for that anyway. The shark fin antenna up top, your rear roof spoiler, and going to have the rear window wiper right here inside of the rear roof spoiler. And we'll finish things off here with the LED tail lights. Again, very tastefully done. Your Escalade IQ logo and 1000E4 logo right there. Now there's a few different ways that you can open the power tailgate back here, or lift gate as it's often referred to. We can just touch the logo right there. You can use the remote. There's a button on the interior. There's quite a few ways. And speaking of the remote, there it is. You're going to have lock, unlock. You've got remote start right there, and you can open the front trunk. You can open your cargo area back here in the rear, as we just did as well. And speaking of the front trunk, we're going to hit that button right there 2 times and let that open up. There's actually a very large amount. There are some vehicles out there that don't have this much in the trunk. 12.2 cubic feet of cargo space. Nice to have that extra space. We're going to have some lighting here. Would be nice to see that maybe on both sides, but I'm sure this does a good job of illuminating everything after dark. But like I said earlier, a little hard to see this in the nice bright showroom here at the dealership. And when it comes to closing the front trunk, let me show you a little trick here. If you let go of the button, it's going to stop. So you have to hold that down to get it to close all the way. The Escalade IQ Premium Sport is powered by dual electric motors making 750 horsepower and 785 pounds-feet of torque. The 0 to 60 is around 4.5 seconds, which is actually pretty impressive for an SUV of this size. And a big question to be answered for a lot of people is, what is the driving distance on a single charge? According to Cadillac, it's about 460 miles. Those who have actually tested this in real world situations say it's about 450, but that's pretty close. And that's actually very good when you compare the Escalade IQ to the majority of EVs on the road. And how about your charging times? With a level 2 charger, you can expect about 36.5 miles of range per hour. If you go with the 11.5 kilowatt charger, you can expect about 22 miles per hour. And on a DC fast charger, about 100 miles in 10 minutes is going to be what you will find. Here is your charging port. If you're curious to know where that is, very easy to deal with. Everything is here depending on what you need to use, what type of charger. To close the charge port, you can push the button right there. The Escalade IQ is capable of towing up to 8,000 pounds, and max cargo capacity comes in at 119.1 cubic feet. Now, in the rear cargo area, unlike what we saw with the front trunk, you do have the dual lights back here. I like that on both sides. You're going to have your power outlet right here if you need to take advantage of that. A couple of tie downs located throughout as well. We'll also have some space underneath the floor back here. Depending on what you need to store back here, you can easily do that. That's nice to have. To maximize cargo capacity, we're going to hold down these buttons right here. Nothing unusual for an Escalade, but that's how those are going to be folded flat to maximize our cargo space. And you will also have the panoramic sunroof. And one thing I wanted to show is how quickly these seats come back up when I hold the buttons down to bring the seat backs into their upright position. And as you can expect, you're going to have a very luxurious interior. We're going to start here with the second row. The seats not only comfortable, but they look nice with the designs that they have. Now, everything is going to be controlled for the seats right here. And here's what we're going to do that. So you're going to see that you can adjust the temperature. You're going to have heated and ventilated seats. All that good stuff is going to be here. As you can see, you'll have the massage function for the seats as well. And the position. This is something that's very important to know about. Notice that you have position adjustments and memory. So depending on how your passengers want to set things up, they can use seat memory. They can make adjustments to the seats. This is how they're going to do that. And the position, we're going to go right here. This is what's going to allow for moving the seat back. I'm going to have to hold that down like that or hold my finger on the screen right there to adjust that. But you can do that just so that you can see how that works. And the same thing is going to happen on the right-hand side, just as it does on the left-hand side. Now you'll notice down here it says leg room. So if your passengers in the middle row need additional leg room, here's how they're going to adjust that. I notice that it says adjust position of the front seat to get more space. And so that's actually going to move the front seat back and forth on the passenger side. And then obviously you can make those same adjustments on the driver's side or the left-hand side over here if we go back to left. Just one of those things that you might want to know about, things you might want to see as far as what is here and what is not. There's a lot going on when it comes to these different options. Now, one thing that is interesting here is that you can't actually do anything to change the position of this screen. It's basically in place. It looks like it should fold down, but it doesn't. You do have the cup holders right here. Air conditioning vents are going to be there. And we're going to find a little bit of space right here. We also have the nice spacious center console area. And if you're wondering, what exactly do we have right here? Now, one trick to what we have right here, these are the trays. It's kind of like being on an airplane almost, but you have the trays to set things on, whatever people want to use that are back here. So here's the release right here and right here. And that allows us, when we push down on that, to very easily move the tray up. Then we move it up like this. You can move it flat like that, and you can slide it over, and then it's open. That's very nice. And it can be moved around a little bit, as you can see. Pretty easy to deal with as far as that goes. There's going to be one, as you can see, for the passenger side and the driver's side seats back here. Kind of a nice little thing. And this center console can be used as an armrest if so desired. And for those of you that are wondering about the view out of the sunroof, I know all we're doing is looking at the ceiling of the dealership. but that is a nice large panoramic sunroof. And obviously that isn't all that we have here. We also have the screens on the back of both seats, both of the front seats. There's a lot going on here. You can go into vehicle status and see what's going on there. The passengers can see just about everything as far as that goes. HDMI, depending on what they need to do. You can even see that there's no HDMI connected, but you can see where they are connected and go with using earphones, whatever the case is, and you can even turn it off right there if you need to. When it comes to getting into the driver's seat, let's hop on inside. Now, you don't have to do anything other than get inside and push the brake. And when I do that, I don't know if you saw that, I didn't do anything but push the brake. Everything starts up, comes to life, and the door automatically closes. Something that is very interesting and something to be aware of, although I haven't tested it out, but surely the door would stop before it might get your legs stuck in there. I don't know for sure if there is some kind of a fail-safe on that, but that is the way that works. And I know a lot of you are wondering about the sticker price. It's $161,815. That is what you can expect to pay if this is something you want to buy. And you can see some of your features with the upper console up here. And when it comes to opening the glove box, this is what you need to use. I'm going to just touch that area of the screen and the glove box opens. You will also have the screen over there on the passenger side. A total of 55 inches worth of screen. Now, we had the executive package in the rear. Obviously, you're going to have those same types of features here in the front. Heated and ventilated seats, seat memory for the driver and the passenger, their massage seats, all of that is going to be here. A very nice setup as far as that goes. And you can see everything here. Here are all of the adjustments for your seats right here, in case you're wondering about that. Kind of like a Mercedes-Benz. If you've looked at Mercedes-Benz, instead of having them on the seats themselves, they're located on the door panel. I know out of habit, I tend to reach down there a lot, but that isn't going to work. And everything else here is pretty much where you expect it to be. If you want to change ride height, that's what this button is for right here. And you'll see that when we change things, that information will come up on the screen to let you know what's going on with the vehicle. You'll also feel it raising up on the air suspension. That is pretty obvious when you're sitting inside. Now, I know you can't feel that when you're obviously watching the video. You can see that your power parking brake is right here. So if you're wondering where that is, that's where it's going to be located. Here's your button for your power adjustable steering wheel. It is tilt and telescopically adjustable. Easy to deal with. Everything for your windshield wipers, your front and rear window wipers right here. And then your shifter is going to be over here on the right-hand side of the steering wheel. So nothing that's really out of the ordinary, no push button shifters or anything like that. And you do have your rear view camera mirror. As I mentioned earlier in the video, you can use the rear view mirror as a conventional mirror or the rear view camera. Over here, you have quite a few adjustments you can make depending on what you want to do as far as different features, position, brightness, all that kind of stuff. And here on the center portion of the 55 inches of display, there's a lot here. You have your drive modes. Let's see what those drive modes are. You're going to have Tour. You'll have the accompanying graphics that go with that. We're going to have Sport, Snow and Ice, and then you have your tow haul mode. That's right. And you have an enormous area right here to rest your hand so you can do whatever you need to do with all of that. We can hit home right there if we want to. Vehicle status, you can go right there if you need to see what's going on with the vehicle. And you can see what's there. Pretty easy to figure out. Just to show you a few of the things that are here. Now you can see what I hit right there. That's going to bring up our maps. You can't see that right now. But you obviously have your built-in navigation. And then ambient lighting. I wish I could show you more of this, but here is what you're going to have. You can come in here and make some changes. You can customize things as far as that goes. And it shows you where the lighting is here on the screen. And if you want to turn that off, you can. It doesn't have to be on. You can change the brightness. You can see that right there. You have different styles and modes. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on here, obviously charging details will be right here. As far as that goes, you can see your charge capacity. You can see the completion time if you were going to charge, whatever you're doing, charge now, charge later. There's a lot here. But you know what? The good thing about it, you can see I'm just kind of hunting and pecking my way around. It's not hard to learn or use. Now, you do have Google Assistant right there. If you need to use that, you can say, hey, don't worry, I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to set off devices in your house, but you use that name right there. The Play Store is here, trailering. We're going to have multiple cameras, as you would expect, on and around the IQ right here. We've got our overhead view, side view. You've got your hitch view. There's our side view right there from the side view mirrors. And we also have the second view, depending on where you want to see. So you have a couple of different options. See that? See what I'm doing right there? To change the option as far as where I'm seeing, and then we can just hit exit right there and we go right out. Now, we can go into settings right here. Pretty much the normal setup as far as what General Motors vehicles typically have. So if you're coming out of an older Escalade, maybe that's a couple of years old, something like that, well, then you can see that it's pretty much the same. Drive mode customization, you can come in here and do that with steering, suspension, acceleration feel, motor sound. I don't know if I have any motor sound I can let you hear in here. Nope, it won't let me do it while I'm sitting here in the showroom. And then you can go into my mode if you want to, just to show you some of the features and functionality here. Now, depending on what you need to do, you can come in here and make changes to other things, depending on what's going on there. If you want to use the brake to close the driver's door, you can turn that on, or you can turn it off. As you can see right there, it's on right now. Now it's off. We also have auto door unlock. You can see it, what's here, but if you're looking for these things, this is where it's going to be. You're going to have valet mode, teen driver mode, seat belt, rear seat reminder, buckle to drive is going to be there. And you do have Super Cruise, by the way. I didn't show that earlier, but the indicator is going to be right here. That's semi-autonomous driving. Pretty easy to deal with. And all you're going to do is hit the button right here for Super Cruise to come on. And that will work. And if you're wondering what's this, that's just your heated steering wheel button. But that's what that is. And here is one thing that a lot of people ask about, the safety features. So I always like to go over that. You've got forward collision avoidance, front pedestrian braking, intersection collision braking, adaptive cruise speed from signs. You're going to have your adaptive cruise go notifier, side bicyclist alert, lane change alert, and reverse with automatic braking. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time here on the screen, but just wanted to show you a few of the highlights. Yes, there's a lot to talk about here, but it's very easy to deal with. I like that. Simplicity is a good thing. Now, something that some people may not like so much is the fact that you do not have physical controls for your air conditioning. All of that is going to be controlled right here in the screen. We're also going to have everything for our seats. As you can see, the ventilated seats are on right now. So we're going to turn that back on like that. You can also turn on the heated seats, which I'm sitting in the driver's seat, so I'm going to turn that on the passenger side because I don't need that to be on right now. It's pretty warm today. You can also control the second row from here if you want to. We'll go back to the first row and you can see all of your different options as far as that goes. Now, you do have a few controls here to show as far as safety. You've got drive right there, doors and windows. In fact, I'm going to show you a couple of things here. Your child safety locks are not on the doors themselves. It's not a manual button for that. So you have on right there and off. And something I've shown in a lot of my videos in the past is how to deal with the power tailgate, whether it's opening or not opening. If you need it to open and it's not, come here to this same screen and make sure it's not set to off or manual. Now, you can always open it manually no matter what. You can also change to a custom height if you want to do that. And you can also go to max open. So a lot of features and functionality going on here that you can use the hunt and peck method, as I like to call it, to just go through here and find whatever it is you want to find and make things work. Now, we also have the ability to go without touching the screen with this dial right here. You can see what I'm doing. If I want to go up and go through some of the other apps on the screen right there, or come back down here to some of these lower options, depending on what I need to do, we can do that. And then we can just select that, and you can turn the vehicle on and off, whatever you want to do like that. And all you're going to do is push down on the selector right here. I'm going to do that one more time right here, and we can hit OK right there. Just so you can kind of know what's going on. You can even open the glove box, as you can see, with that control. So for those of you that maybe don't want to touch the screen and get fingerprints all over it, well, there's how that works. And the wireless phone charger is right here. We're going to have a similarly designed center console set up here, just like we did with the rear area with the executive package back there. But you don't have the trays right here. Obviously, you don't need those. But something else that I want to show here as well is your USB ports. We hadn't talked about a lot of the connectivity that's here, but it is throughout the interior. And the thing I like is you have two wireless charging pads. There are the cup holders right there. A very spacious interior overall for all three rows. And something else that I wanted to show you here is the wireless charging pads. I didn't talk about these earlier. You saw those here, but they are here for the passengers in the rear, in this middle section right here. There is so much going on here. It's hard not to miss a few things. And if you're wondering how the audio sounds, here's a quick sampling for you. We won't let that go too long, but hopefully that gives you a good sampling. So tell me what you think about the 2026 Cadillac Escalade IQ Premium Sport. Is it the ultimate full-size SUV? I'll tell you what, if it's not, it's definitely a front runner. I'd say top 2 or 3 at the very least. But a lot going on here to talk about. A very luxurious interior, very nice vehicle. So tell me what you think down in the comments section. I'd like to say a special thanks to my friends at Orr Cadillac for loaning me this Escalade for the day so I could tell you all about it. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. That's very helpful to me. Please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And if you would please, share this video on your timelines on social media so other people can see it. If you'd like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.